Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Grow Folds, and today will be big box store plant shopping at the Lowe's out in Prosper, Texas. As always, please make sure you are hitting the like button for this video. It definitely helps with the engagement to push this content out to more plant lovers like yourself, as well as following me on Instagram at Grow Folds. If you want to connect with me, send me a direct message. That's the fastest way to do so, and I do respond to pretty much everybody on Instagram. So anyways, I am just getting off of a 12-hour shift from work, and I did want to go ahead and do some Christmas shopping, some plant shopping at this local Lowe's out in Prosper, Texas. For those that are new to the channel, I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. Welcome. My name is Richie. I do daily 1-hour plant shopping videos, and this evening I am checking out some of the plants that Lowe's has available. You can see that the poinsettias are now 50% off. These are still fairly healthy looking poinsettias. You know, poinsettias in terms of just a holiday plant. This is one of those iconic plants that you will see during the Christmas holiday season, and the fact that they are 50% off, that's actually a really good price considering that we only have a few more days before Christmas Eve. And you know, I thought that they would hold off on putting these poinsettias on sale, but it looks like they're already 50% off. Now, if I were to buy this poinsettia, and this is only for $9.97, but with it being 50% off, that really becomes more cost effective. And when you think about shopping for plants, we're always looking on ways to save money. Finances is real. We want to make sure that we have budget friendly plants. And yes, this is not bad at all. I love the variegation on the color bracket. So most people think that poinsettias, the colored portion, is the actual bloom. It is not. It's actually just a color bracket. The small blooms are the little yellow flowers that you see at the very tips of the poinsettia. And then you can see right here, this is a Christmas cactus that's really not even in bloom yet. So it could be a Christmas cactus. It could be past its bloom. I'm not 100% sure on that. And you can see right here, they've got the gallon size poinsettias for $26.98, but take 50% off and you will have a pretty cost-effective holiday plant. Now, I understand the reason why big box stores like Lowe's would, put these plants on sale, put them on clearance for 50% off. It's because, right after Christmas Eve, which is next Tuesday, and then Christmas Day is next Monday, a lot of these holiday plants just become composted, or people don't really keep them around. Poinsettias in general are just grown as a seasonal plant, and I'm not even talking about annual plant. It's literally a seasonal plant that is used for decoration for a good 3 to 4 weeks during the holiday season. And to me, I have various opinions about whether I really want a seasonal plant. Now, as far as poinsettias, you can grow them long term. However, after the holiday season, they do lose their color, and so it does take a while for them to get their color back. And there is a very specific way to try to push that color bracket out of a poinsettia, which I am not really versed in. But again, whenever I do this big box store plant shopping, I like to go either late at night or early morning. As you can see right here, I am going night shopping. Shopping in general is really relaxing for me in the sense that I am able to just talk about the plants. These big box stores, I haven't been able to be as consistent about doing big box store plant shopping videos. Again, it's because the holidays are a little bit more hectic for me. I have been working extremely hard, and I am just really excited, and I will be super relieved when Christmas Eve comes around the corner, because surprisingly, I am off Christmas Eve and of course Christmas Day. So my plans are to visit my grandmother down in Houston. We want to surprise her, and obviously I've talked about this in some of my previous videos. My grandmother is really the source of inspiration when it comes to just growing plants in general. She was the one that introduced me to these plants as an early childhood pastime, I would say. And plant foldies, you already know, whenever I go to a big box store like Lowe's to go plant shopping, I also like to show you the outdoor plants. I am showing you a trade Scanthia Nanook, and this one is for $5.94. actually a really good price. I would say that this is actually cost effective. This is a pretty good deal. Now, this one doesn't have nearly as much of a plant as some of the others. So whenever you go plant shopping, I always say, look at the amount of plants you have in a specific planter. Like you can see right here, we've got at least 5 growth points. And so this would make a good candidate for me to take home. Now, as far as Tradescanthia Nanook, it's a super easy plant. It's a pretty fast growing plant. The only drawback about Tradescanthia or Tradescanthia in general is these plants tend to get a little bit leggy. They lose their lower leaves and they become leggy. So you really want to make sure that you're chopping them back to encourage a little bit more growth. Otherwise, you know, this plant used to be quite expensive even for just like a single node, one leaf cutting. It used to be really expensive a couple years back. But again, whenever a plant makes it into a big box store like Lowe's, Home Depot, or Walmart, they become a little bit more cost effective. And again, that's the reason why I like to talk about big box stores. I like to showcase big box store plants because they're really readily available. And it's just really exciting to see that our plant foldies really support just the content I put out there. You know, as far as like plant shopping, obviously I'm trying to scale back on my plants. I actually have my brother who is visiting out from California, and he just mentioned how my home is just inundated with so many plants. And he's like, you can't come with a net positive while I'm here. So I thought that was really funny, but I think he's actually being serious. So for those that are watching this this video, please leave it in the comments if you feel like you are in the situation where you're just adding more plants than what your household capacity can hold. I admittedly tell you that I am just having such a challenging time with controlling myself with these plants. I mean, basically it is a plant addiction, and I don't know if anybody else watching this plant shopping videos of mine can really relate or resonate with just the need to purchase plants, the need to collect plants, the need to just keep adding plants. And the thing about it is, I always tell myself, well, you know, if I add an extra plant, I can, you know, style it, I can make it look neat. But right now, as of now, a lot of my plants are just really cluttered looking, and it's quite embarrassing. So if I were to do a house plant tour, it would not be a very pretty sight. I've actually had a couple of plants not do as well because of the amount of plants I have. And you know, I was watching a couple of plant YouTubers that get really burned out, and then all of a sudden they stop posting content. I would hope that I wouldn't go through plant burnout to the point where I wouldn't be able to post plant content. To me, the reason why I haven't been able to be as consistent is literally just the time. You know, aside from just being really busy with work, you got to think that the process of going to a big box store and showing you these gorgeous plants like these succulents, for instance, it does take at least an hour to film. And then I have to go back. If you want to know the process of how I create my plant content, I would have to go back and do a voiceover, maybe add some subtitles. I typically like to do that. Sometimes I run out of space to where I just go ahead and create the video. But hopefully by next year, I can have a little bit more curated plant content. I definitely want to diversify some of my plant content to where you can see more of my personal plants. I'm thinking of also doing like live chats in terms of just doing live streams where you can ask me questions, or I can just kind of sit back and just talk to you guys about my plant insights. I mean, I pretty much do that because as you can see right here, I am still in the outdoor section of Lowe's, and you can see there's still some Christmas trees or plants that are considered Christmas trees. Like you can see here, this is a dwarf Alberta spruce for $14.98. Super cute. And you know what I like about that particular plant is you can grow that as a landscape plant, so you can make it a Christmas tree for the season. And I am just super excited that Christmas Eve is around the corner. I don't really want to sound negative when I say this, but honestly, the holidays in like the month of December is just the most stressful and just really busy time for me. And so for me, not only am I just excited about Christmas Eve and Christmas Day coming around because I will be around my loved ones, my family, and my friends, but also it just marks the end of a very busy season for me in terms of work. You know, January, I want to slow down a little bit in terms of just taking more time for myself. You know, and that's the thing about, you know, making plant content again. It's really exciting for me to just go and have this routine of filming at a big box store, traveling to a certain local nursery and then being able to have the ability and freedom to just talk about plants or just give you plant insights. I know that you guys are still looking for me. Again, I will say that I have a faceless YouTube, so I do not intend to really put myself out there. It's really about the plants, but maybe one day, and if you actually tune into our Cultivation Corner Plant podcast show, definitely check that out. We might do a face reveal there. As far as the support we've gotten from the Cultivation Corner Plant podcast, I really want to say thank you so much. We've premiered episode 2 just a couple of days ago, and I'm hoping that you guys will enjoy the 3rd episode, which will be on Stephen of I Lift Plants YouTube channel. So definitely go to I Lift Plants YouTube channel to see the 3rd episode. And then after the 3rd episode of the Plant podcast, we will actually premiere episodes 4 and 5 on the official Cultivation Corner YouTube channel. And I am calling all plant foldies. Yes, all of our viewers and subscribers, our 11,200 viewers and subscribers, please subscribe to the Cultivation Corner Plant podcast show. It is a huge plant project of mine with my friends Janae Simone and Stephen of I Live Plants. We are all based out in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and we want to just actually present plant content that is a little bit different. It's more of a podcast. And whenever you think about podcasts, there's not really a lot of plant podcasts that are in existence out there, or at least with 3 hosts. So hopefully you guys can continue to share our videos and really just tune in. We have so many plant topics, and I will ask the plant foldies if there are any future topics you'd like for us to talk about. Please leave that in the comments. And if you made it this far into the video, yes, this far into the video, number 1, thank you, and thank you so much for tuning into tonight, this video tonight, and as well as also, please make sure, yes, you already know I'm going to ask, to hit the like button for this video, because it definitely helps push this content out to more plant lovers like yourself. And we already know that the more people that are in this plant foldy community, the more fun it is, especially during the live premiere chats. And I did want to say hello to anybody that has tuned in during the live premiere chat. We have seen lots of new faces out here. Continue to say hello, especially if you catch this video during a live premiere chat. If not, you can always open up that plant dialogue by just leaving comments in the comment section. I love comments, and like I said before, I will respond to every single plant comment that you leave for me, both negative and positive, preferably positive, but I have been given some feedback. And it's one of those things where whenever you're doing plant content or just anything related to social media, yes, it is a public forum, and yes, a lot of people who do make plant content subject themselves to being either judged or have people create opinions about either the content or the person behind the content. And so I totally respect that and totally understand that. But I was actually talking to a couple of my friends about just the common etiquette and courtesy we should have for people who do make content. We should always exercise positivity. And if you are going to have some feedback, do it as constructive criticism. So I know I'm a little bit on my soapbox today, but like I said, again, I love being able to talk to y'all directly. I feel like my plant shopping videos have kind of evolved to me just having an open dialogue. You can pretty much consider this like a plant podcast, because I pretty much talk all the way through my plant shopping videos, and typically I aim to be at least 1 hour. I like that longer format, long format content. I feel like longer format content is becoming less and less prevalent with with TikTok and YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels. But I like to take it back to throw back when YouTube first started, where people had longer content, and I do believe that people have the attention spans to where you can watch a 30-minute or 1 hour video versus a 5-second short video, and you're just scrolling through Reels, Instagram Shorts, etc., etc. And I had to go actually talk to my sister, because some of my nephews and nieces, all they do is like for 30 minutes straight see hundreds of 5 to 10 second videos. So I do ask a lot of our plant foldies, do you prefer longer format content? Do you like shorts videos? Leave it in the comments. And I did want to ask, how you feel about terracotta planters, because what I like about going to a big box store is having the many options to pick certain planters. Like, I think terracotta planters are very much a classic and modern look to display your plants. I've seen people with just terracotta planters in their full collection, and I think it's wonderful. Here's the thing about using terracotta planters. If you are somebody that overwaters, as in like you have the tendency to want to water your plants even more so than what the watering needs are for that specific plant, terracotta planters could actually help you out, because terracotta planters actually dry up the soil substrate fairly quickly. It actually sucks up the moisture much faster than, say, plastic catch pots or nursery catch pots, and we'll see what that looks like as far as, you know, your preference of the terracotta planters. Anyways, but you can see right here, I just love the look of terracotta planters, and this one is considered a azalea / orchid type planter. It's a little bit more shallow, but you can see that there's a little bit more drainage holes here. I actually have planted a Phalaenopsis orchid, a variegated form, in this specific planter, and it's doing very well for me. Again, I like to show you some of my plant aesthetics behind it. If you've been watching my plant shopping videos for quite a while, you already know that I tend to lean toward more modern, more simplistic, more matte finish type planters. I don't really like a lot of textures on mine. I like more simplified shapes and just really modern looking planters versus really, you know, big textures or even really shiny glazes like these. I love the bold statement on all of the colors of the planters. Like this one right here, what a beautiful teal planter. And it is in a it's a plastic planter, and really you don't even have to repot your plants. Say you have like a 10-inch planter with an actual plant in its grower pot, you can just stick it in there and not have to really worry about repotting it. Now, some people do prefer the repot, and can I say I love this yellow color here. It's got a very nice bold color. It kind of reminds me of Costa Farms yellow, you know, the Costa Farms yellow color that Costa Farms uses for their labeling. I think it's a really nice color, but as I pan away here, you can see all of the nice colors. Now, I would prefer if these planters were just a simple, like no texture. I would be all about that. But like something like this, like if it was just like this where there was no surface texture, it would be something I would be really down to buy. And then you can see here we do have some more glazed planters. These are frost preventative ones, so to where these actual planters can go outside and the planter won't actually freeze over and crack. I like that as well. Now, I don't really have a lot of plants that I keep outside in the winter. You know, with North Dallas, plants tend to need to be brought back inside. That's called overwintering the plant. Now, I did go overboard on coleus plants. I will say the whole plant obsession I had with coleus plants kind of ended. Now, I do need to take a couple of cuttings because I do want to save some of these coleus cultivars for next year. Just kind of put them in water and let them just kind of root there until it gets a little warm and I can just grow them again. Now, if you are not familiar with coleus plants are actually considered more of an outdoor patio plant, but you can grow them indoors just alongside like with holiday plants like poinsettias. Like I just recently saw some poinsettia like trees, and I thought that was really cool. Like the base of the plant was actually more hardened like a trunk, and that's something I wouldn't mind adding into my plant collection. So anyways, plant foldies, as you can see right here, this big box store, this Lowe's, which I have frequent quite often because I really like how they maintain their plants, how they're able to keep the plant merchandise together. And you know, as far as like the holiday season, you know, going Christmas shopping, looking for the best prices for Christmas gifts, I kind of justify, and I know it sounds really crazy, but I kind of justify my big box store plant shopping splurges where I just impulse buy plants as like a Christmas gift. I mean, I'm already working, you know, 10 to 12 hour days at work. The least thing I can do is maybe treat myself, but you know, in actuality, I'm actually probably adding a little bit more stress because I'm adding so many plants to my plant collection. Now, these amaryllis flowers, love this. And you can see that this one has literally found its way out of its box to go push out a bloom. Amaryllis flowers are very unique to me, like as in they are low maintenance. Like you literally can set a bulb on a shelf with bright indirect light, like right in front of a window, and it will push out new growth and push out some blooms. I really love the look of that. Like this amaryllis right here, this amaryllis red. I remember being gifted by somebody last year, and I really enjoyed having the amaryllis. Like, look at how bold the red color is. And so I'm just going to keep showing you some of these holiday plants. And, you know, as far as holiday plants, again, poinsettias, amaryllis plants are really the main event when it comes to Christmas plants, and obviously Norfolk pine. The thing about Norfolk pine though, plant foldies, is Norfolk pine, you can really grow them as a household houseplant long term. And you can even see right here these paper white amaryllis, you can see that they are ready to bloom. Now instructions say to you know, plant them in soil, but I really feel like you can get away with not even having to plant them in soil. But you know, leave it in the comments. Again, let me know if that is a possibility. And honestly, if you do grow amaryllis flowers, let me know your care tips for them if there are specific care needs. I am always wanting to learn from our plant foldy community. You know, that's the thing about the community we have on the Grow Folds YouTube channel, is we are all learning from each other. I would never claim that I'm an expert when it comes to plant care, plant styling, anything plant related. A lot of my insights when it comes to plants have really just been leaning on to my experience growing plants over the years. It's really learning from my grandmother, and it's really just doing research on the plants. And that's one thing I will say. If you are going plant shopping, right? Like this Aglaonema Red Siam, you already know it's one of my favorites. This is by Costa Farms for $15.98. This one's in a red glazed planter. You know, people ask me all the time, how do you save money or at least watch your finances whenever you are wanting to collect plants or buy plants? I would say number one, have some type of idea of what plant you want to get, because then if you know what plant you're wanting to get at the store, you won't necessarily just jump on an impulse buy, because impulse buys, no matter whether it's plants or just in general, whenever you're shopping, impulse buys is what really breaks the bank. It's what really messes people's budgets up. So definitely have an idea of what plant you want to buy, right? Number two, once you know that the plant you are aiming to purchase at a big box store or local nursery, do your research on the care tips for the plants. And the reason why I say this is, if you do not want to send a plant to plant heaven because you did not necessarily do your research or have any idea of the plant care tips, that just makes money go down the drain. And as you know, people do Christmas shopping, and it's really interesting, you know, the more I think about it, the month of December, people just go overboard in spending money. Like even when you just slow down and watch how people consume, you know, buying toys, doing all of their Christmas shopping, you know, I almost feel like the holiday has become so commercialized about just spending money versus really actively looking to be mindful and really enjoying the moment when it comes to just being with your family and friends. So, you know, that's just some of my insights. You know, I reflect back on just the holiday season, how extremely stressful, to be honest, it's been, but also just knowing what the true essence of Christmas is, or just the holidays in general. If you don't really celebrate Christmas, I would say just like how we collect plants and you know, add plants to our plant collection, we have to have a moment where we can actually slow down, enjoy the plants, where you're not feeling like you have to buy more plants, where you're literally just sitting there and enjoying that new growth from that new leaf that might have unfurled, or just seeing how the morning light hits that that leaf a certain way and how beautiful the plant looks like, or maybe even listening to the water as it drains out of the, you know, the drainage holes of your plants whenever you're watering. That's like practicing mindfulness. And it's the same thing with being with your family and friends during the Christmas season or holiday. Just the fact that you are you're pretty much in the moment with them. You know, you put your phone away, you're actually having conversation, you're just actually enjoying each other's company. And, you know, I'm one of those people that I'm always on my phone. You know, my friends and family say that I am addicted to my phone. And, you know, it doesn't help that I do YouTube and I use my phone for so many aspects of just the channel itself. But I know this holiday season, my phone will be put away. So if I do not have any content out, at least on the, you know, Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, and if I'm not able to make the live chat, you already know that it's because I'm with my family. So anyways, let's go back to just some of the plants here. So you can see that a lot of these plants are by Live Trends. And As a correction, I know a viewer mentioned that Live Trends in Urban Jungles is actually owned by Costa Farms. That unfortunately is not the case, and Costa Farms actually commented on one of my YouTube videos to say that that is not the case. So, you know, Live Trends and Urban Jungle are separate plant nurseries, and what I do love about Live Trends plants is you can see right here, they are very much so seasonally relevant. I love the meticulous detail, the simplicity of Live Trends plants. Like, I mean, you can see right here, look at how cute this is, and this is really just planters to display air plants. Now, as far as the care tips for air plants, literally you just submerge them in water, wait about a minute or two, pull them off and let them just dry out. And that's how you water your air plants. Now, honestly, overwatering your air plants by like submerging them too much and doing it frequently will actually end up killing the plant or sending it to plant heaven. So you have to be mindful on that. But as far as air plants, that's really the only care tips I would suggest. Now, as far as this plant right here, this is just a Sansevieria by Live Trends. It's actually in a self-watering planter, which makes it extremely easy where you don't even have to do anything with the plant. That's really nice as well. And you can see right here, we've got a snowman planter that's super cute, and this is by Live Trends again. I believe this is a Haworthia, and you know, as far as a Haworthia, this particular plant is a succulent, but it's a succulent that can tolerate a little bit lower light conditions, which makes it very interesting because succulents in general are synonymous to bright light. Like either they need full sun or bright indirect light. They just definitely need light. But as I pan away over here, you know, Live Trends, they're always pushing the envelope when it comes to modern planters. Like you can see here, here is another Haworthia. Love it as well. And so I'm just going to keep showcasing some more Live Trends plants. They are pretty cost effective. And if you're going to ask me for like Christmas gifts or plants that would make good plant gifts, I would say the Live Trends planters and the plants that they offer are pretty much geared to being a gift because they seem more personalized. They have nice planters and they have healthy looking plants. So for those that, you know, agree with me, please leave that in the comments. Let me know what you think about Live Trends plants. And if you made it this far into the video, please make sure you are hitting the like button for this video. I would really appreciate it, as it definitely helps push this content out to more plant lovers like yourself. Truthfully, whenever you hit the likes button, whenever I see that there are lots of likes for a specific plant shopping video, it really validates that my efforts to provide, you know, quality content, plant shopping content is, you know, something that makes me happy. You know, I feel like somebody rewards me by simply hitting the like. So hopefully you will do that for me. And I did want to show you this. So usually Proven Winners Leaf Joy series, the H2O bowl, has hydroponic plants, so plants that are growing in straight water. But it looks like, you know, Live Trends also has these little bowls with, you know, roots that are growing in just water. This is a Dracaena right here, and I love Dracaenas because they're very much so drought tolerant and low light tolerant, but this one is clearly just growing in water, and it is such a beautiful looking plant. It is an underrated, overlooked, basic plant that people just don't really add to their plant collections. Now, this one is for $14.98, but you know, you can buy something like this and put it in your office, or if you wanted to gift somebody like this a plant, all they have to do is actually put water whenever it runs out of water, and you are good to go. And, you know, whenever you think about, you know, Christmas shopping and actually considering buying a plant and giving it as a gift for somebody who doesn't grow plants, I always recommend, and this is something that we talked about on the Cultivation Corner Plant Podcast, episode 2, about gift giving and just plants that you would give as Christmas gifts to somebody who doesn't grow plants. Definitely don't add, you know, stress or workload to the person you're giving a gift. Give them a plant that is low light tolerant and drought tolerant, because then there is a bigger threshold of just less care. And whenever you're not having to care for a plant so much, I honestly feel like it's a little bit more enjoyable for the person who may not be as dedicated to plants. But for this right here, I would highly recommend a Dracaena like this, and this is such a cool little touch. And you can see that the roots are super healthy. $14.98. Some people would say it's a little bit pricey, but just the fact that it's very curated looking and very modern, and it's just a really cool and interesting plant display. I would recommend that as a gift if you are going to give somebody a plant. I wouldn't mind receiving one from y'all. If you want to go ahead and just get me a Dracaena, I would welcome that. And I'm just kidding, but My family is actually inundated with me with quite a bit of gift cards from big box stores like Lowe's. Definitely, makes a great Christmas gift for me specifically, because then if I am going to go do some impulse buys, and I have been pretty terrible about not controlling myself with plant shopping, at least helps with my plant budgeting and plant, spending. Now, as far as this right here, this is another Live Trends, I guess plant, art. It looks like it is an air plant that's in a terrarium setting. Really cool looking modern fixture of a plant. And as far as Live Trends designs, I would want to go ahead and do a feature on their plants at some point. I mean, you can see right here, these are the 6-inch planters, and notice how that specific planter on this Ficus Audrey, this one I believe is for $22.94. Really nice looking plant. It has a little snowflake. So again, it is all about being seasonally relevant. It is all about that Christmas vibe. And you can see right here, Aglaonema. This is an Aglaonema White Rain. Gotta love the Aglaonema. Absolutely stunning plant. And this is another plant that I definitely recommend because of how easy care it is. Now you can see it does have some of those blooms, or those buds that are about to become blooms. I would cut it off because it takes a lot more energy from the plant when you let it bloom, at least in Aglaonema, or any plant that actually relies on, you're growing it for the foliage and not necessarily for the blooms. Beautiful Aglaonema, low light tolerant, drought tolerant. I love the silver. I love everything about this plant, the white stems. I want to influence everybody, to be honest, to go collect Aglaonemas. That is my main squeeze right now in terms of what plants I have been acquiring. Super excited that I will be receiving more plants, more Aglaonema from Indonesia, for instance. And we're going to go ahead and pan out here and see some more Live Trend ceramic hanging basket planters. This one is a Philodendron heteroraceum, beautiful plant. And this is a plant that I honestly feel like I should have more of, because it's so easy. You got to think about those easy care, low light tolerant, drought tolerant plants, ones that are cost effective, that will save you money, that are good for your finances. This would be a plant like that, the Philodendron heteroraceum Brazil. Another gorgeous plant right here, golden pothos, or Epipremnum aureum golden. Love this plant. And Live Trends, I am really tempted to buy something like this in terms of just the ceramic planter. Beautiful plant. And you see the leather just detail on it. And then this one is an urban jungle hanging ceramic planter. This one is another golden pothos right here. And as far as pothos, again, if you don't have a golden pothos in your plant collection, I would highly recommend it because it's an easy to care for plant. We're in the holiday season. We're just a couple of days away from Christmas Eve. And as far as a plant, I would recommend these plants right here by Live Trends as a Christmas gift. If you are going to be giving a gift for Christmas for somebody that may not necessarily grow plants, like this Philodendron heteroraceum right here, that wouldn't be a bad choice, just because number one, it's got a beautiful ceramic planter. So it's already a nice looking planter in terms of the visual aspect of it. And then number two, the plant itself is an easy to care for plant. And number three, the plant price, I think it is only for $24.94. It's a really good plant price as well. And then right over here, we have a Scindapsus silver. And now as far as Scindapsus, they are a little bit slower grower. When you compare it to the Epipremnum aureum or Epipremnum pinnatum plants, I still like the Scindapsus silver and or just Scindapsus plants. I've seen a lot of Scindapsus variegated forms reach the market lately, but I do just like the silver metallic foliage that these plants have. They have a velvety texture. They will let you know when you need to water them. Their leaves tend to curl up or down. And so it's one of those plants that it will indicate when it needs a little bit more extra care. And then we can see right over here, we have a bird's nest fern. And what I love about the bird's nest fern is it just has a very robust look about it. And then I just like the neon foliage it has. Now, these plants can get very large, so you're going to have to plan for it to get be very large in the near future. And, with a lot of these plants that we see at big box stores, we can get excited. We can buy a plant that may not be large, but if you give it the right care, in time, it will become a massive plant. You know, plants that we see typically at a big box store would be like Monstera deliciosa. Within 2 years, that plant could be up to like 10 feet tall with really large leaves that span about 4 to 5 feet in width. So it's one of those things where you have to plan for the space as well. So whenever you're going plant shopping, I always recommend to people, and it's just plant tips that I like to give, is you have to just plan for the space. Not only do you have to look at your daily lifestyle, how much time do you have that you can invest into your plant care, but also the space constraints that your possible space can be for your plants. But again, it's one of those things where I like to do these big box store plant shopping videos because even though these are plants that you've seen on multiple videos of mine, I just love talking about them. I mean, you can see right here, I'm very tempted to buy all of these ceramic planters by Live Trends or Urban Jungle. Look at that beautiful green leaf by this pothos plant as well. And by the way, plant foldies, I have had such success taking plant cuttings from my pothos plants. They've fully rooted, and I'm debating on whether I would just put them in semi-hydro substrates like Lechuzapon or Leca. So let me know in the comments what you would do with your rooted cuttings. And then as far as this, so this is a brand new Live Trends planter. You know, Live Trends is constantly putting out new planters. Look at that texture on the planter. I really like the color of this one as well. Now these are for $24.98. These are the ceramic planters that hold a 6-inch planter. Now as far as this plant right here, like I really thought this plant was an interesting one because of the dark purple undersides of the leaves, or the maroon tone about it, or burgundy, whatever color you want to call it. But this plant apparently needs a little bit more water than I am willing to really have the time to give. And so this plant ended up going to Plant Heaven when I bought it. But at the same time, I ended up getting that plant on sale for 99 cents. So it wasn't that big of a loss, but it's still disappointing I wasn't able to grow the plant. And then this is a new variety of plant by Live Trends. I don't know the plant ID for this. Is it some type of ginger? Plant foldies that know this plant ID or can find out for me, please leave that in the comments. This is an interesting one because you can see that it has like the shoots like a ZZ plant, but clearly it is not a ZZ plant. It almost has like a Dracaena vibe about it. I'm assuming it might be some type of ginger plant. Again, I am not an expert with a lot of these plant IDs. I just learn as I go. So if you can, please leave that in the comments with a timestamp to let me know what the plant ID is. I would really appreciate it. This is a brand new release. I haven't ever seen this, at least at Lowe's, by Live Trends. What I will say about Live Trends is it seems like they cycle out multiple plant releases every couple of weeks. And so that's what makes big box or plant shopping exciting. And just the fact that these plants are readily available. And again, if you are looking to save money, if you are watching your finances when it comes to your plant hobby, go to big box stores. Big box stores will either have these plants on clearance or you can still find them for cost-effective pricing. I love this ceramic planter right here. This one is another 4.5-inch ceramic planter by Live Trends plants. This one is another Epipremnum aureum neon pothos. Love the neon colored. You know, it's one of those plants that if you had to ask me what my favorite pothos plant would be, I can at least narrow it down to 2 plants. It would be the neon pothos and then the Manjula pothos. Yes, I think that those are really the 2 plants that I really like. But then again, I love all pothos plants. Like this one right here is a pearls and jade pothos. I really need a pearls and jade pothos. I don't have one. And you know, this plant right here is a little bit faster in growth as compared to the neon pothos. I mean, not neon pothos, enjoy pothos. And then this one right here, I actually was super tempted. Like this, if I had to pick a plant to buy today at Lowe's, this would be the plant. This would be a philodendron micans. And the thing is, I like the philodendron micans because obviously it's got these beautiful velvety textured leaves. But this one is only for $16.98. And I don't mind paying that price, I suppose, because of the ceramic planter. It does fit my plant aesthetic. And, you know, philodendron micans, one thing I will say about it is a little bit more of a thirsty plant. When you compare it to a plant like the pothos plant, still the only drawback about philodendron micans is if you do underwater it, if you don't provide it with enough water, as in like you need to be watering this as soon as the soil dries, it could get very leggy very quickly. And that's what's happened with one of my philodendron micans. Another thing about philodendron micans is with the velvety texture on the leaves, it is a little bit more prone to spider mites for some reason. So you have to stay on top of the pest preventatives, like spraying neem oil spray on it. I am really all about that plant product, Weed the Wild Protect Neem Oil Spray. Not only does it protect your plants, not only does it give you leaf shine, but it also has such a nice smell about it. And I mean, neem oil, let's all be real, neem oil doesn't really smell that great. And that's one of those things where I have to like spray an air freshener spray after I do the neem oil spray, because I don't like having my space smell like neem oil. But it is very effective. You know, there's a lot of questions about what plant products you can use to prevent pests from coming to your plants. Now, obviously, pests in general, it is natural. It is part of having a plant collection. You have to think, whenever you get these plants and take them from a space like maybe the outdoors where they're originally from, where they have natural predators for these plant pests, putting them in an environment where, number one, they may not have the nice lighting conditions they need. The plant's health is a little bit more compromised, so their immune systems, or at least their health, isn't as healthy as maybe growing outside in the wild. So plant pests are a little bit more, these plants are a little bit more susceptible to plant pests. So that is the reason why plant foldies, I always say, preventative pest control, such as spraying your plants, really help out. Now, I used to use like insecticidal soap, but then I found that using insecticidal soap is a little bit more costly. So now I make my DIY neem oil spray. I've given that recipe out to multiple plant foldies, but I'll tell you, the neem oil spray recipe I use is, you want to buy a conventional spray bottle that you can buy at any big box store like Walmart, Lowe's, Home Depot, even Target. And then also, you want to order the organic neem oil spray, neem oil cold press from Amazon. And what you do is you take 2 tablespoons of organic neem oil, put it in this the spray bottle, 2 tablespoons of rubbing alcohol. You can choose 70% or 90% strength. Hydrogen peroxide, 2 tablespoons of that, and then also a drop of dishwashing soap. Put water in it, fill it up with water, shake, 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 and you have a DIY neem oil spray, which I have to call the Foldy Mist. You know, I like to like brand some of my plant content, and that is called the Foldy Mist. So hopefully you guys might try it. I do think it's effective, and let me know in the comments if you've already made that DIY neem oil spray, the Foldy Mist. Now, we're going to go back to all of the plants. So clearly you saw a bunch of those succulents and cactus plants, and then Live Trends has another Dracaena right over here. So if you notice, Live Trends really does merge a lot of the elements of a modern I guess display, like even just the lines of this. I would even just say it's a water propagation of a Dracaena that is for $19.98. And then we still have multiple planters by Live Trends. These are little dogs right here. That's super cute. So if you like, animal themed planters, Live Trends Plants has them. And then you can obviously see that there are still some of these seasonal planters. I am curious though, with all of the seasonal planters that Live Trends has pushed out, I wonder after next Tuesday, Christmas Eve, whether these planters will go on clearance. That's another time that's great to go plant shopping, especially when you don't mind being out of season. So like in terms of poinsettias, now they're 50% off at Lowe's, but how much further are they going to be marked down once Christmas passes by? So we'll see what that all looks like. But again, as far as all of the plants by Live Trends, I love them. I mean, this one right here, Peperomia obtusifolia, these are for $14.98. Look at how that beautiful one is so beautiful, and that's an easy to care for plant. I would call it a very durable plant. And then we have this very dainty, or what you call demure, fern right here for $14.98. Beautiful plant. I just don't have ferns in my plant collection. And then this Epipremnum aureum Marble Queen pothos, $7.98 by Costa Farm. So that just ended up making its way into the Live Trends plants. Now, if you notice this marble queen pothos, it looks more like a neon queen pothos, and that's a result of the plant not getting nearly as much light. So when you provide it with more light, you get more of the cream variegations. And then I have been eyeing this for a long time. This is a ZZ Zenzi plant. So when you talk about ZZ plants, this one is more of a dwarf variety. It's very compact. It's got smaller leaves. It's definitely a lot slower than a typical ZZ plant, but as far as like a low light condition, a place where you don't water it nearly as much, it is a prime candidate. Like it would make a good like office desktop type plant, a study plant, an area where it may not necessarily get the most light, but it will still do well. Homalomena, this one is a Homalomena Shelby, and again, it has that nice plant turned by Live Trends. This is again for $24.98. Now, I've heard that the Homalomena Shelby is a little bit more finicky of a plant. You know, whenever it's one of those velvety texture plants, I just get the vibe that they're just a little bit more challenging to grow. Now, as far as the peace lily, it's really not a challenging plant to grow if you water consistently. Like I already know that if I get a peace lily, as beautiful as the leaves are, and they can get super large. And what I love about the peace lily is you don't have to provide it with nearly as much light and it will still do well. Like you can literally grow this in a bathroom with no windows and it will still do well. The thing about it is it needs a lot of water, as in like the soil needs to remain moist. So water it when the soil is like 60% dry or even more so, less you can actually water it. African violet that's not in bloom. I love my African violets. My tips for African violets again is to bottom water them. Don't water the leaves because they will rot away. This one is a ficus ginseng bonsai. So these are all of the bonsai type plants. They have a nice codex right over here. Now, if you are wanting a ficus ginseng bonsai, you do need to give it quite a bit of light for it to really do well. And then I'm going to spin around here and take a look at some of these exotic angel plants. Now, they do come in two prices. You can get the ones that are 4.5 inches that are going to be $5.98, and then the 5-inch planters for $7.98. Now, this Tradescanthia nanuk made its way out from the outdoors into the indoors, but you can see that this could easily become some type of Costa France trending tropical or you know, as far as just a plant that would be an exotic angel. But this isn't a Costa Farms plant. $4.97. I'm still debating on whether to get, I should get one of those. And then we've got a Hydra Helix, or what you call the Hedera Helix, and this is the Ingrid Liz. So this English ivy has a little bit more smaller leaves. Now with English ivy, again, it is a challenging plant to grow indoors because it is very spider mite prone and it just doesn't do as well indoors. Now if you grow it outdoors, and when I say outdoors, that I don't necessarily mean plant it into your landscape because it is a very invasive plant. What I mean is growing it outside in a shaded patio, in a hanging basket, this plant will tend to thrive actually, especially in outdoor conditions, as long as you stay on top of the watering. It is a beautiful plant. It's just a plant that has broken my heart multiple times. Gold Dust Croton for $5.98. Really like the look of this one as well. And you know, a lot of people are just really not into crotons. I love crotons in the fact that they have very bold colors. I mean, it does look like somebody just speckled yellow paint on it. And then you can see right here, $7.98, another peace lily. And what I appreciate about the peace lily is even though it is just a green foliage plant, the texture of the leaves and just the natural shine about it, it's a really nice calming look for a plant. You know, not all plants need to be variegated. You know, I've mentioned this before, not all plants need to be variegated. Not all plants have to be rare for somebody to really put them in their care. Like this one right here, this Balfouriana Aralia, I have tried 5 times to grow this plant indoors and I just can't seem to keep up with it. Now in its in a tropical environment like in the Philippines, for instance, I've seen these become 4 to 5 feet as like full grown like shrubs, and they're gorgeous. Now over here is a bridal veil plant, which I've never really seen. It does have very dainty textured leaves, just very small leaves. That's not something I would really put in my plant collection. I like plants that have really a robust, large leaves. I think those are super cool. And speaking of large leaves, Dracaena Massangiana, this or Dorado, I think it's Dorado, $12.97, really nice looking plant. And then we have a Philodendron Hederaceum, $7.98. This is just a green form about it. And again, as I go through all of these big box stores, I can show you all of the plants that I would recommend. Like I will constantly say, please buy a Dracaena. It is an easy plant. I wish people would get into Dracaenas as much as I got into Dracaenas, as well as Aglaonemas. There's just so many varieties. And when I spin around here, you can see that this hanging basket, a 6-inch hanging basket by Costa Farms, is $16.98. We love the black rabbit's foot fern because it looks like a hardy fern, and then the aerial roots has that fuzzy texture about it. Some people will say they look like tarantula legs. I will just say black rabbit's foot is a better description. Aglaonema anyamaniae, and these are for $19.98 by Costa Farms Trending Tropicals, and I'm so thankful. Thank you, Costa Farms. If you ever watch my videos, thank you for always putting out more Aglaonema. I hope Costa Farms has multiple Aglaonemas in the works. Like, this is a plant. When I say this is a plant that we need to be talking about, this is a plant that we need to be gifting people for Christmas. This is a plant that needs to be in everybody's plant collection. And for the reasons I'm going to state again, low light tolerant and drought tolerant. They are a slower growing plant, but they also come in so many different varieties, so many different colors. And I am super excited to announce that I was able to get another import from Indonesia for some Aglaonemas. That's the thing about it. I have to actually import overseas for me to get more varieties, but this Aglaonema anyamaniae, and I've noticed that none of these plants have really sold. It's a beautiful pink plant. So if you love pink plants, if you love something that's cost effective, if you know somebody that likes pink and you want to give them a living pink plant for Christmas, go ahead and buy yourself an Aglaonema anyamaniae. This one is only for $9. And I wish it was $9. Sorry, $19.98. So it is an amazing looking plant. It is a plant I would still recommend for anybody that just wants to add an easy care plant. You already know plant folies. I will repeat it a million times. Aglaonema, you should look into it. Aglaonema should be in your plant collection. So let me get off of my Aglaonema soapbox and just talk about some of the other plants. So we do have a variety of different types of philodendron. This philodendron lemon lime, for instance, is by Urban Jungle Plant, $14.98. And Urban Jungle Plants have really upped their game. I do love the terracotta planter mixed with a little bit of a cream glaze, and then they have these taller planters, and these are also for $14.98. This is an Epipremnum aria Marble Queen pothos. Love pothos plants. Again, I just think that pothos plants are overlooked, but I truly could have an entire room dedicated to different varieties of pothos, or better yet, I'll just have multiple pothos of golden pothos, neon pothos, whatever you want to call it. Here is another easy to care for plant. This is a Sansevieria. I don't know if it's a bird's nest Sansevieria. So the thing about Sansevieria, or what you call snake plants, really they're classified as Dracaenas, but I can't bring myself to call them Dracaenas. I've always known them as Sansevierias. Beautiful plants again, and these are easy to care for plants. I've actually grown my Sansevieria collection because they don't really require a lot of light or a lot of attention, and that's the best kind of plants, right? You can still have a living object in your collection, such as a Sansevieria, and they don't give you a lot of hassle. Fern right here, some type of bird's nest fern. This one has some really interesting textures, $14.98. And I will say with ferns, they do just require a little bit more water. So if I were you, I would just stay on top of the water and don't let them dry out completely for too long. And then these are the Urban Jungle Plants. And that is a really nice stylistic planter. It almost reminds me of a live transplanter. Beautiful Sansevieria. And again, if you're going to give somebody a plant for Christmas as a Christmas gift, a holiday gift, we already know that we are all probably scrambling to do our Christmas shopping. I know that I can be a little bit last minute, and that's because I balance my very demanding workload and also just making this plant YouTube content. You know, I strive to try to get you guys daily 1-hour plant shopping videos. I am excited that I've been able to get a bunch of videos filmed. It's just a matter of getting them edited and just giving you the commentary. And I did want to plug it again. If you did not see the Cultivation Corner episode 2, the holiday episode, please go to @Janae Simone's YouTube channel. Episode 2 for our plant podcast show is on Janae Simone's channel. And next week, on the 23rd of Monday, Steven will debut the 3rd episode of the Cultivation Corner. So if you are not subscribed to Steven of I Lift Plants, please be sure to do so. Please be sure to join us 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, the Cultivation Corner Plant Podcast. And I really hope you guys will continue to support the Plant Podcast. We put in a lot of effort, a lot of work, a lot of time into it, and hopefully the plant discussions really do cultivate friendships, cultivate plant love, and just a lot of conversation around plants. Like whenever I am doing these big box or plant shopping videos, you already know that I will talk to you plant foldies for an hour. And so if you ever need somebody to, or just feel like you don't have somebody to talk to, or you need some ambient background music as you're doing your plant shopping, or even not plant shopping, plant chores, please turn on a Grow Folds big box or plant shopping video. I do have compilations and plant shopping marathons as well. Those are like on average 2 or maybe even 3-hour long videos where I compile and pretty much recycle some of my content just so you have a little bit longer playing format. So just to put it out there, I have that as well. And what I do need to add is another ZZ plant. So like I do like the terracotta planter by Urban Jungle. Like this is just a regular green ZZ plant, but the good thing about ZZ plants is they are low light tolerant. And I repeat, what makes a plant a little bit more challenging for the beginner or even just plant lovers like myself, I wouldn't say I'm a beginner. I would definitely not say I'm an expert. I would just say I'm a plant enthusiast. These plants, you know, when they become low light tolerant, or if they're low light tolerant, they just make growing them in indoor spaces a lot easier as compared to growing plants that require a lot more light. Now, Monstera deliciosa, it is a classic plant. It was the it plant, I would say, back in 2019, 2020, and now people overlook just the green variety because everybody wants to get the variegated form. My opinion about the Monstera deliciosa is as it matures, as it fenestrates, it becomes such a statement piece plant. Now, if you've ever been to the plant shop in Houston called Cultivar, you will see a massive beautiful Monstera deliciosa. They call it Jimmy, and it is such a beautiful plant. Aglaonema Silver Bay, you already know plant foldies. This one is for $27.98. Or actually, no, these are the small varieties. Sorry, $15.98 by Costa Farms. And these are in self-watering planters. Love it. It is a common plant, but it is a plant that everybody needs to add in their plant collection. And truthfully, I might just make an episode of plants that I think, like my top 10 easy to care for plants that are cost effective and readily available at a big box store. I mean, I could pretty much tell you, like for instance, ZZ plants, it would definitely make my top 10. Plant foldies, leave in the comments what your top 10 easy care plants are, what your recommendations are. Again, I just love the comments in the commentary. So if you can type away and put some comments, that would be amazing. And if you made it this far into the video, I really appreciate that engagement, that watch time you're giving me. Please also hit the like button for this video. The likes always help this channel out. It helps grow the channel. It validates that I'm doing a pretty good job in providing meaningful plant content on a daily basis. That just makes me so happy. And you know, Calathea dotty. So here's an update on my Calathea dotty. I bought one again for $18.84 at Home Depot. It was in a 10-inch planter. It has lost some of the crispy leaves, but now that I water it every 2 to 3 days, it is doing just fine. So with Calatheas, they just don't like to be underwatered for long periods of time. So I am happy that I was able to salvage that plant because you don't always see really large Calathea dotties. And then we have trending tropical plants again, Philodendron Pink Princess. Beautiful plant as well. Now with the Philodendron Pink Princess, not all of them are created equal in terms of the pink variegation. So if you want a Philodendron Pink Princess that is a little bit more variegated, you really want to find one that has the initial genetics in the plant, because that plant is, the plant's variegation is really influenced by its initial genetics, not necessarily the light. I would say bright indirect light is always good for any plant. Like this one right here has some really nice pink variegation. The thing about these particular Philodendron Pink Princess is their genetics for pink variegation is not really stable. They have varieties called the Pink Princess Marble Galaxy that has a lot more variegation. Aglaonema Red Siam, and I will say at this Lowe's, I am tempted to purchase this Aglaonema Red Siam because look at how red this Aglaonema is. And then for my Canadian plant foldie, Kathy, hello, Kathy. You are one of my most loyal plant foldies. You're pretty much on all the live premiere chats. Thank you for always watching my videos and commenting. I know you're looking for an Aglaonema Red Siam. I mean, take a look at this right here. Super red, and I just love it. Again, with Aglaonema Red Siam, it is a common plant. It is as common as the Aglaonema Silver Bay, but it is one of those plants that I just feel like everybody should add to their plant collection, especially when you can get it to push out that beautiful color foliage. I really love the look of it. It is in a self-watering planter. It is one of those plants that I would highly recommend. It's an easy to care for plant, and truthfully, an Aglaonema Red Siam would be another plant that I would recommend as a Christmas gift. So if you're going Christmas shopping and you're looking for something cost effective, something that is a little bit out of the box when it comes to giving Christmas presents, maybe just bringing somebody a little bit more joy, getting them started in their plant journey, you can give an Aglaonema Red Siam. Now this plant right here, this Calathea, I would not recommend as a Christmas present or Christmas gift for a novice plant, or even somebody who has a plant collection. I know a lot of us are weary about Calatheas, or at least I am. Maybe I'm the only one. Leave in the comments if you find Calatheas very challenging to grow long term. I'm just really curious, and that's the thing, plant foldies. I know that these big box store plant shopping videos can be a little bit repetitive, but I think the reason why I also do them on a daily basis is because I do want to hear from you guys. I do want to hear from the plant foldie community. I mean, let me know what plants you're growing. Let me know what plants you are struggling with or you're winning with. Let me know what plants you're that are a want or a need. And you know, in Cultivation Corner's Plant Podcast, we have a term where a want is basically a plant that you can find at a store, right? A big box store, local nursery, small business, where you know that you want it, but it's not necessarily a plant you have to buy that day. A need is a plant that you have to buy today, and that is a term we pretty much conned in Cultivation Corner Plant Podcast. Like for instance, neon pothos, it really is a plant that most people need. It's a need plant. It's a plant that if you find it as beautiful as this, and this one is only for $16.98, you can consider this a plant as a need. It is something that you have to buy today. I already got a neon pothos, and truthfully, plant foldies, again, my plant finances have really depreciated in the last couple months. I am excited to announce that I will be going to PlantCon 2025 in Orlando in February. So for my plant foldies that might be going to that PlantCon, the plant foldies that watch the channel in February, I will be out there. Maybe we can meet up, and you know, maybe you'll see me in person. But I am super excited to cover that plant convention. I love plant conventions in the fact that I've just met so many kind people, and that's the thing, plant foldies. Always remember that whenever you are feeling down, all communities might have some toxicity to it, some negativity, but like anybody has told me, you know, some people have mentioned this before, when you focus your energies towards something that is productive, something that is positive, and you reframe things that might be deemed as negative or toxic, then you are always going to be in a great mindset, a good headspace. And I had to really come into terms with that, especially doing plant content. You know, whenever you put yourself out there on social media, media, sometimes you may not always get the most positive feedback from people. I just had to realize that not everybody's gonna like you, not everybody is gonna really know you, but the bottom line is, for those that appreciate my plant shopping videos or plant content, it's just really exciting, and then also just really endearing that you guys really do invest that amount of time to watch my plant shopping videos that are typically an hour long. Engage with me, encourage me, and encourage others. I know that there are some plant foldies out there that have shared a lot of their personal life in the live premiere chats. You know, I would say, for instance, my plant foldie who's out in Houston, Bella, I really hope that things get a little bit better for you in just the with your family and things that are going on. Just know that we are here to support you at the Grow Folds Plant Foldy community, and we all just need to congregate here and just really enjoy the plants and enjoy each other's company. So, you know, I have been on a little bit of a soapbox in terms of just whenever I am doing my plant shopping videos, I know I've been a little bit more chatty about things that are outside of what the plants you're looking for. But again, that is just something I've really kind of assimilated into my plant content. But to go back to the plants again, these trending tropical plants by Costa Farms, and I will say these Xanthosoma have really grown with me in terms of just what they look like and just the I guess the statement that plant has. And then we also have the Pachira aquatica, or the money tree plants. These are the large forms, and then we have more plants right here. Xanthosomas, again, right next to the calathea. It's interesting how both of these plants have really nice striping on their leaves. Now, I would say Xanthosoma, people have said it is a challenging plant, but it's actually grown very well for me. Super easy. And then as I walk around here, I love the sea of bromeliads, and really I do want to grow bromeliads. I am curious if anybody's grown bromeliads in semi-hydro like Leca. I wouldn't really put them in Lechuza Pond because number one, Lechuza Pond is a little bit more expensive, but let me know in the comments if you've actually grown this semi-hydro. If I were to pick a bromeliad today, this $10.98 one would be the one I would pick. Look at the foliage of this bromeliad, beautiful plant. I love how it's got that white striping on it with the very bold red color. You know, red is one of my favorite colors. It's really hard for me to pick between my favorite color, whether it's going to be red or pink, but that is a beautiful plant. And you know, bromeliads are beautiful. I regret that I thought they were overrated plants, but really I feel like they're underrated. Phalaenopsis orchids, love them. I have a variegated Phalaenopsis orchid that I'm waiting to rebloom or get to rebloom. But, you know, Phalaenopsis orchids, they are pretty much available throughout the year. Now, I would say if you're going to give somebody a Christmas gift, you could give them a Phalaenopsis orchid. They're very easy to care for as long as you don't overwater them. And the thing about it is Phalaenopsis orchids, their blooms can last for a good month, month and a half. I've heard that some Phalaenopsis orchids can hold their blooms for even 2 months. Leave in the comments again, plant foldies, if you grow Phalaenopsis orchids. Really love the look of that, and these are all different varieties. I love the fact that, you know, Costa Farms has pushed out a lot of Phalaenopsis orchids. But as you can see, plant foldies, I will be wrapping up this big box or plant shopping videos. Hopefully you might actually gift somebody a Christmas gift of a plant. I know that I wouldn't mind getting plants as Christmas gifts, especially Aglaonema. Let me know in the comments if you have. And as far as like gifts again, what gifts would you want for Christmas? I really am interested to see what you would want, like your wish list, either whether it's a wish list plant or just wish list in general. Again, I'm excited that, you know, Christmas Eve is just a couple of days away. You know, the big event is happening, and I am still going to be able to get that plant content, but I might take a little bit of a break over the holidays to really be in, you know, present with my family. The fact that I get to visit my grandmother, I'm going to be surprising her. I'll be seeing my mom and dad, my sister and her family is going to be out there. I'll see my brother as well. So on Christmas Eve, we will be a complete family. And that's really all about the holidays. It's not always about the buying, the over commercialization of Christmas. It is all about being with your plants. So again, plant foldies, I hope you like this video. Hit the like button if you really like this video or you want to support me. As always, this is Richie at Grow Folds. Please subscribe to my channel, and I will have a brand new video ready for you tomorrow. I'll see you then. Bye.